Alright, well, now we're starting back in on the rebuild process of putting these heads and the head gaskets back on. Unfortunately, it took me a little bit longer to get this thing started to reassemble because I broke off darn near every one of these stupid bolts here on the exhaust crossover. Had to get these studs from Fastenal, and I even broke off one of the bolts here in the back by the manifold, and had to get bolts to thread through it, you know, up inside there, instead of getting like one of these studs like is right here. But I do have the head gasket on this one. I'm going to start in on the back. I've got a little bit of silicone around each one of the water jackets just to make sure it's got a good seal. I'm going to put this thing back together now, put this head on, and move on to the next step. Get everything torqued down, and I'll tell you the steps on how to torque this down. One other thing I like to do is just take a little bit of silicone here and put along the edge of the bolt, real thin layer, you know, just so that way in case one of these has a water jacket that runs through it, you're not going to you know, flood the cylinder because you forgot to put some silicone on there. So I put a little bit of silicone on each one of these bolts just to be on the safe side, nothing to affect the torque whenever you torque it down, but enough to keep it sealed. So that's what I would recommend, a little bit of silicone around the ends of the bolts. I also got new bolts for this project here because it recommends it. I probably didn't need to. I was just afraid that, you know, some of them might be screwed up, you know, by taking them off, but they weren't as bad as I thought they would be to take off. You can see kind of what they look like next to the old ones. There's two different lengths. The shorter ones go in the back towards the exhaust, and the longer ones go up top by where the rocker arms are at. And then there's also that one funny looking bolt that has a stud out that comes that you fasten your motor mount to. So, alright, next step. Alright, I got all the bolts started on there. Now all I want to do is just hand tighten these, just kind of torque them down in sequence. What they say is torque them down like you'll torque this one down, then you'll move back over here and do this one, then move over to this one, then back up to here, over to here, there, and then back over here. Just a crisscross pattern, and gets just hand tighten it first, and then step it to 40 pounds, and then after that you'll want to torque it down to I'd say 70-75 pounds. I know they give you an angle degree, but I've never really been fond of that, so I always just torque it down a good amount and never had any problems. So 70-75 pounds, I'll hold this thing on here, no problem. Alright, tighten it down, get this one on. Alright, I decided to just go with 65 pounds. I felt that was plenty enough pressure. I stepped it actually up from 40 to 50 to 55, 60, and then all the way up to 65 finally. So that's how you start it and do it in that crisscross pattern, like I was saying. There. So, yeah. Alright, I got the heads on. Now I'm going to bolt the exhaust crossover pipe on. I've got it all lined up. Now I just got to put on the lock washers and the nuts to hold that on. As you can see, I got all the head bolts torqued down on there. Started at 40, went up to 50, 55, 60, then 65, just going around in the pattern like I said before. Now I'm going to work on this exhaust crossover pipe. Alright, I got the exhaust crossover pipe placed on there, and the heat shield bolted down with those 10mm bolts in the 4 locations there, and the 6 bolts that hold on the exhaust manifold crossover flanges. I went ahead and plugged that wire in there where it goes in that little bracket. Next thing I think I'm going to do is go ahead and install the intake manifold gasket along with the rocker arms, and go ahead and tighten them down. I'm going to step them from 40 to 50, so and go ahead and get that done. I've got all my rocker arms set over here, in order, so I know where all the push rods go. It's just set up exactly the way the engine's set in there, so it should be easy to sit down in there and do. Alright, moving along, starting to look a little more like an engine. Alright, I got the rocker arm bolts tightened down, stepped them from 40 up to 50 pounds torque on those, and have the intake manifold gasket on there. I think the next thing I'm going to do is put the EGR valve on over there, get it snug, easy to tighten down, and then come down here and work on the air conditioner, because I had to take off that one mount and bracket to get this head bolt off here, and I'll get that bracket put on there and then kind of go from there. Trying to think what else I want to do. I guess I could put that bracket back on over there that goes for the alternator and everything, but for now I'm going to put this bracket on here and the AC line on and the EGR. So next step coming up. Alright, I got that bracket on there and the AC line. Now I'm going to hook up the lower radiator hose and then start putting that bracket on for the alternator right back there, back here, and then I'm going to prep the area for putting the lower intake back on here. Put a bead of silicone through there and then over here. Yep. So alright, next step, hook up this and the alternator bracket. Okay, I've got the alternator bracket on there and the 4 bolts that hold it on there, the 3 on the side and the 1 on the top. I've got a layer of silicone down here to set the lower intake manifold down onto, and I kind of tucked a little bit of silicone underneath each one of those intake gaskets, so it'll make a good seal. Got this hose on here, went ahead and pulled the engine forward a little bit and put the mounts up there so it'll be positioned right. Now I'm going to lower the lower intake on there and get it torqued down a little bit. So that's my next step. Put the lower intake on there. Edit, hold on, don't put that bracket on there quite yet. I made a mistake. You'll want to put the valve covers on after you install the lower intake before you install that bracket, because it's very hard to get that valve cover underneath that bracket while it's bolted in place. So valve cover, then the bracket. Well, sometimes you gotta go back over things. Gonna put these valve covers on there, then I'm gonna put the bracket on there, and guess try and get my upper intake bolted on, and some of these hoses for the water pump there, this pipe here. Yep. So next step, that bracket, valve cover gaskets, in that bracket, remember. Alright, here's where I am now. I've got the upper intake bolted on. I'm going to start working on this radiator hose here and get it hooked up back in there. Going to work on that EGR, getting it hooked up onto the upper intake. Got the map sensor hooked up and bolting the alternator back down on there. As you can see, I've already got the coil pack set back down there. Makes it a whole lot easier when the upper intake is off, getting it in that place. What else have I been working on? Pretty much it for right now. Next step, get these water hoses bolted in place. Let's see, what else am I going to do? Guess I could set the power steering back in there and hook up all these lines down in here, and then hook that bracket there up into the bolt for the throttle body. So that's just what I'm going to work on now, and then I'll come back. Alright, well, I think I'm done for the night. Right now I've got to finish hooking up the serpentine belt, bolt all the stuff here on the left, the washer fluid, the battery box. Got the motor mounts all tightened down. Got the evap system all hooked up right there. I'm going to wire in the spark plug wires and put the spark plugs in it, and finish it off. Ain't got much left to do, but I'm going to call it a night, finish it off in the morning, and take the next step. Alright, next day I'm back out here in the garage, and let's see, I went ahead and put in the spark plugs here in the front. I've got it jacked up here to put in the back spark plugs. I got over here, and then I'll run the spark plug wires, then I'll hook up the alternator. I've got all these wires yet to connect, so really not much left to do other than just a few fastening things together. Got to put the windshield washer reservoir in here, the overflow tank there, and the throttle bracket on there as well. So it might sound like a lot, but it's really not. So next step, I'm going to put those spark plugs in the back, and let's see. Dang. Take some right over here. Over here. Yeah. So. What else? Yeah, not much else. So hopefully should be starting this thing up here real soon. Got to connect the rear exhaust flange to the exhaust manifold in the very back, and put on these 3 bolts that hold on this bracket that holds on the exhaust, holds it up. Alright, see where I'm at next time I stop. Alright, I'm going to hook up my spark plug wires. So I already got my spark plugs in there. I'm going to start with the number 5 cylinder. 5 starts here, and it goes to the very back one over here. So I'll just make a quick clip of each one and where they go, just so you know how to wire this thing in. Alright, now that I got 5 on there, I'm going to go to 3. 3 is this one right here. 5 is the one back here. Then 3, which is one in the middle. And then this one here is number 1. And on the front, it's 2, 4, 6. 1, 3, 5. So this one here goes to 3, and it's in the very middle in the back. Alright, I'm almost finished. Almost the time for the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing starts up and runs. I still got to hook up my battery down here. I've added the oil. Still need to add antifreeze to it. Let's see, anything else? No, I think that's pretty much it. Yep, antifreeze, hook up the battery, and then fire it up. So, oh yeah, I put the reservoir on over there. So, let it off the jack stand, and then we'll fire it up and see how we did. Cool! Oh yeah, I was going to show you this too. This one here is number 2, and number 2, again, it's this one right here. And number 4 is the one back here. Second one. And then 4 is here in the middle. And 6 is this one right here. Just pause the video if you can't figure out which one it is. And 6 is the one furthest over that way. 2, 4, 6. 1, 3, 5. Fire it up, see what happens. Alright, I guess this would be the moment of truth. Got everything hooked back up, and let's see how I did. Try and start this thing up for the first time. Boy, I hope it works. This thing better work. Another light, right? Gas lights on and everything. Well, it runs. Cool. Got it back together, and now I guess I'll just test to see if the thing holds pressure and doesn't leak any fluids, and check the temp gauge, make sure it doesn't overheat or anything. So, cool. Got it going. Awesome. Alright, well, ta-da! All done. It's still burning off a little bit of the oil and everything that I had from when I was handling the manifolds and everything, but, you know, that's common. It's going to smoke a little bit whenever you first start it up because it's burning off all the stuff you touch, you know, off the manifolds and areas that have gotten hot. But it is running, as you can see and hear. I'm happy with the results. It runs great, just like I knew it would. Alright, well, if you got any questions with this repair, give me a shout in the comment section down below, and I will try to help you get your 3400 or 3100 engine fixed. So, this was my project, and we got it done. I am happy.